The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, locking off that side of the bay.
From enemies. Enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe.
Elysium. This feels familiar somehow.
In Indians, it isn't militia. It's the official name of the Communards Army, the black and white army of the revolution.
Sounds an awful lot like.
It does. The RCM may descend from the ICM. It's impossible to say. It was chaos after the war. The name was good for getting people to join us. Revachol West was mostly workers and criminals.
Nice political thoughts rush through your neocortex. A mediocre athlete would pant from dragging around his body on a busted crutch. But not you. You're thinking about politics with blood dripping down your thigh.
This is better preserved than the others. You can still read the sign. No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
No, that's the uninhabited archipelago.
A DeLorean-era symbol of Insulinda, known as the face in the sea.
After 44 years? That's not nearly enough to hide what happened here, Lieutenant Liefreiter. One of these barrels was still leaking fuel, as you saw. The city is full of things like this. Old bullets, guns, fuel.
Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures, popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife. Widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Ouzia. Humanitarian sciences. Stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Revachol West anymore.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist student's room?
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting. An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired.
Oh, wait, haven't you heard this before?
Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter.
The lieutenant pauses. Something seems to be pecking at the edge of his concentration. He gives you a sideways look before adding,
Long and cold.
"There's no time to dwell on this moment. You've got to keep moving." A hollow ring. The canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
That is his idea of a joke. A small agony. Minuscule bones may have fractured, but it proves the point. He nods approvingly. He even smiles.
Someone with basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh, recently washed.
You force the rest of the sentence out through pain, thick as molasses, no longer able to hear yourself speak.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead.
You face the concrete wall. There's less light there, in the dark corner. Like a dog, you lie there. You didn't realize how tired you were. Your body is still nowhere near healed. The blanket feels cold. The entire room does. Concrete and cold. Minutes pass. Half an hour maybe. The sounds of the sea beyond grow distant. Your eyelids close until you feel yourself standing up in the darkness, right next to the mattress. Slowly, the world begins to hatch from the blackness. It's evening. Sleep. day, the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state turns around to face you. She has an airship airbag in her hand. She seems to be in a hurry. Okay, don't say you need to talk right away. Melt the ice first. This way you're already talking. But you don't even want to talk to her. She would only be cold and mean. Let her go. Let her go? This is the holy queen of the territories of Muindi and Insulinda. Think of the historic knowledge we could glean. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win her back. Win her back? How does that fit in here? And what is the Holy Suzerain doing here anyway?
Hey. I'm doing really good, actually. Both professionally and romantically. I've come to a fulfilling and peaceful period in my life. Well, how are you doing, Harry? God, Harry. You have to take care of yourself. You're not a young man anymore. If you keep going like this, you'll...
Desperation is gearing up. This is everything I always warned you about.
I'm sorry. I was heading to the aerodrome. I just don't have time to...
She means she doesn't have time to tend to your emotions. She sighs and looks over her shoulder. What are you doing? Stop saying things like that.
I'm going to Morova. To live there, in Grad. It's 1 million kilometers away, Harry. Might as well be another lifetime. Just my scepter, my globe cruciger, a spare silk gown, a toothbrush, travel documents, the crown of immortality.
She looks at the suitcase, not knowing what more to say. Then, over her shoulder, silence. Her nuptial gown flows in the wind, wraps around her holy body.
Anyway. No, Harry. It's just regular skin. I'm not as beautiful as you always thought I was. Let's not get into. It's okay. No, Harry. No. I don't want a massive, epic showdown. I want to go to the aerodrome. I have tickets for the 10:20 flight to Morova. Really, we don't have anything to talk about anymore. Every combination of words has been played out. The atoms don't form us anymore. Us, our love, our unborn daughters, it's all gone. I have to go to the aerodrome. I have to leave Revachol and you. And you have to be alone. In hell, forever. That's just the way it is.
Oh God, whatever you do, don't try to kiss her yet. Not after that. You're still reeling. You'll fall over if you try now.
It's not, but... I don't know why I said but. There is no but. That's it, yes. We've talked about it 1,000,000 times. You will get over it, just like I did. People do. Things will get good for you again.
Where in hell? Stop. You're only making it worse for him. You never help with anything.
See? It just takes some time. For you, it will take something like 20 years, maybe? It was hard for me, too. I used to think I couldn't live without you. But I can.
It's not. It's just not possible. It's like eating rocks. You just can't do it.
Yes. It only took me 1 year, maybe 2. Phew. Yes. But that time is gone now. So very gone.
There is a silence. She looks at you, then over her shoulder, then corrects the wreath on the dome of her forehead. As you talk, it feels like chewing on gravel, granite, steel bars.
What other things? We've been through all the things, Harry. I don't know what you mean. Dolores Day. Oh, Harry, you shouldn't have done that. Call me like that.
You ruined it. There was still a chance. You should have waited longer. She would have called you instead.
They shouldn't have. They really shouldn't. I was in Morova already. Safe. In the warmth of the night. Wrapped in my future love. There, I think of you less and less. Whole weeks go by without me remembering you. Months already. Soon it will be years without the hurt. I sit there in Morova, in the holy gratitude of my bliss. I put my hand on my belly and smile.
The air gets cold around you. She looks down on her stomach, then up at you. Her eyes are full of tremendous distance and mystery. The death blow is coming. Black-eyed dogs wander the alleys. Apple trees hang their bony limbs low over the patchwork of roofs. Red and black. Revachol West, the evening sun. She's left and bloomed, far away from us, our vast soul.
Wasn't I Dolores Day just a second ago? Now I'm the X thing? You're confusing me. Look, I have to be at the Lausanne Aerodrome at 10:20 p.m. I still have a light rail to catch. I haven't even bought the tickets yet.
We all told you. Everyone warned you. That's the problem. Look at what's pouring out of you.
I'm glad too, but I have to go. My friends are waiting for me on the platform. I can't let them wait. It's impolite.
What? She does not look back. Instead, eyes her fingernails. They're bitten, frayed. The evening wind blows in. The gown wraps around her like a white flag. 1,000 times you've beaten animal. 1,000 times you've raised that fabric. What is underneath has always calmed you, centered you, made you sane. In your mind, you could still climb inside her bed. Still the only man.
The morning? I don't understand. Yes, it really, really is better that I don't. You don't have to hate the world. Can't you see how kind and beautiful everything is? I don't have time to deal with your pessimism. There are so many people at the stop at this hour. They're all going to the aerodrome. See?
The weight is you and your hate.
Yes, Harry. I am. Things have gotten much better for me, now that I am the ruler of the known world. Oh God, it's already so late. I have to go, Harry.
A tiny golden watch with red straps around her bony little wrists. She doesn't know what to say.
Yes, okay. I'm glad. It doesn't sound like you're better at all, Harry. It doesn't even sound like you're a moralist. It just sounds like you want to win me back or something. I don't want you to try that anymore. okay? It's too sad. I need to go.
Total annihilation. We got annihilated, Harry. It wasn't about responsibility at all. It was always only about you having no power at all. Over her, yourself, anything. That's why they didn't take you on that airship. You're insane without her.
I don't want it. It looks expensive. I don't want it. Please don't give me any gifts. I don't want it. That's not what figurines do, Harry.
She looks at the headless Found Rider between your fingers and doesn't know what to say. The figurines don't do anything? Anything at all. But I thought the historic figure. Yes, I thought it would be good. A form of communication where words have failed. Yes, it was a good idea. But she felt obliged by the headless Found Rider to give you things in return. Things she no longer wants to give you. So she refused. That's how it goes. Your figurine rider idea was naive.
Harry, I don't want things. I want to go to the aerodrome. No, please. Please don't give me anything. I didn't ask for things. It's too late to give me anything. I would have liked these things a long time ago. The headless Fallen Rider especially. But now, only boring hell remains. We both said a lot of things. We were very young.
It was her. I can feel it. I can see it in her tender long fingers, in her wrists. Her hand wrote it, said those things.
As Queen Regnant, I write a lot of letters.
You need to recite it to her, for effect. All of it. No summaries. Yeah, put a stake through your heart. She'll get hurt too. Collateral damage. She won't get hurt. She'll bend out of the way.
Okay, Harry. Okay, it was morning and you slept. The room smelled of cigarettes and Rowans. There was hoarfrost on the ground when I left. It was autumn, the first one we had together. But you have to understand, it was 1,000,000 years ago. No, it was 100 million years ago. I was someone else then. Filled to the brim with love for you, hanging on your every word. Oh, Harry, you were the coolest. But I am no longer that person. This has taken her place. It will devour you. Harry, I will eat your mind.
The light of the video rental shines through her dress now. A DeLorean figure, cut in black, moves below. It's still her. Her legs, her breasts, her hips.
The coolest. With your leather jacket and your boot-cut pants, smoking in the bus stop. I wanted you to be the rest of my life that day. And you were. Some of it, at least. You were my first kiss, my first time to have sex, the first and worst time I fell in love. I will always have that with me. It's a fact. But that is all it is. It's like a ticket stub, Harry. It doesn't do anything anymore. Yes, let's talk about that too. Let's bring it up, the zoo. In Le Jardin, the day we went east of the river, to the aquarium first, I was sad about my mother. I don't even know why. The shimmer of the fish tank on my face, the octopuses. It was just a day then, but to think, were we there now, you could touch my hair, kiss me, talk to me about anything, go Virtually anywhere in the world. Not like now. Now our interactions are limited to pain and regret.
That's sharp and precise. Why? There is still a way to win her back, you know. All you need to do is analyze.
And my crown of immortality? No. You scared her out of me. With your crying, the awful time we wound up having. And the cheap rental flats you could afford. Can't you see? I can never think you're cool again. I can only think that way about new people.
It wouldn't be a cheap rental this time. Nothing will. I've been poisoned by newspaper and news. All I can do is scream at them and think of her secretly.
Is there really anything left? If not, we can always repeat one of the things we have already talked about. Talk about it again. If you do not feel like doing that, you should let me go to the aerodrome.
Don't let her. Don't let her go there. You should redo the topics. Go over everything. The things you didn't say before, too. Make it go on and on. With your feet trembling from the steps you took, tepid and fearful, you stand against her body close to you, radiating warmth. With your eyes closed, you move your lips on her mouth. She is not kissing you back. This was not about failure or success. This was always going to be horror. I should not have suggested it, and you should not have listened to me. Her chest rising like a pillow, warm exhalations against the side of your mouth, her tender soul moving through her lungs. Hidden, distant, kept safe from you, feels like soft fuzz, a bird covered in down feathers, brushing against your broken capillaries, the world's most precious material, reserved for those she lets close enough to feel it. You are stealing a touch. It's not yours to take. The delicate wreath on her forehead pressing into your temple. The silver is cold from the spring evening air. Her hand does not return the grip. Her body is rigid. A current of unease courses through it. Distrust. For you. The curve of her spine. Her shoulders hunched. She keeps herself stiff. Her center guarded from your motions. Unresponsive to your guidance. Nothing, just pillows against you. Unresponsive, but for the taste of apricots. Apricot-scented chewing gum. The moment is ending. She is going to move her face away from yours. Trying hard not to look at you. When she withdrew and you held on to her hand, she tried not to look at your face and see the expression there. Brother, you should put me in front of a firing squad. I have no words for how I failed you.
No, I'm just Dora. Why did you do that to yourself? You know I don't cheat, Harry. I never cheated on you.
She breathes out heavily, as if something painful has passed through her, and shakes her head. She shakes her head one more time. The evening wind rustles her hair, blowing old newspapers and fast food wrappings down the street.
No, Harry. Not yet. There is one more thing you have to see. I'm pregnant. Of course not. I terminated yours. Don't you remember? You poor fuck. poverty-stricken fuck. Now, go ahead. Ask me more questions. Let's talk about something else.
No, this has to end. Do the last one. More questions. Ask more.
That is very contested by modern historians. Very contested. Plus, you're only saying this because things didn't work out between us. I have to go to the aerodrome now. I don't have time to defend myself from these accusations.
Stop making her angry. She won't start loving you again if you call her a mass murderer. Seriously.
You were very bad to me too. We've talked about it like 7 million times now. I don't want to do that anymore. I am actually very ordinary, Harry. Below this gown and wreath, I have an ordinary soul and ordinary thoughts. The only thing inhuman about me is this. This thing you've made me into. I'm sorry for saying so, but I just hate it. What is this? This is so far gone, Harry. I don't even... Other questions are the last thing I need right now. Hush. Can you hear? I think that's the 42.
It's not. It's not that yet. It's another. You have plenty of time to win her over with questions and kisses.
I have to, Harry. Really, I've already missed the 8:30.
I was wrong. You don't have power over her anymore. You shouldn't have said that. I am wrong about everything. You should go on without me.
Light, life, culture. It's so much better than here. Everything here reminds me of you and the horrible times we had. The nights we stayed up fighting for our dying love. I have to wipe it all off me and be clean again. I want to be a good person again. Not this. Not what you made me into. That was someone else. I betrayed her, overwrote her, and I'm happier for it. And I'm really going now. The time is up. I must be on the 10:20 flight. I won't see you, but you will see me. Oh, Harry, this is a dream. Can't you see? I'm already in Morova by now. Who knows how long ago this happened? A year? 2? 5 years ago? Right here, tomorrow night. Once this dream starts happening, it keeps happening. 3 times a week, at least. And Harry, it really, really looks like it started happening again. There's the video rental. I'm suffocatingly beautiful and young. And I smell of tutti frutti chewing gum, like I did that time when I asked you for forgiveness. After leaving you the first time, so long ago. Oh yes, this is real darkness. It's not death or war or child molestation. Real darkness has love for a face. The first death is in the heart, Harry. See you tomorrow.
You're up quick. How was your sleep? Are you sure you're okay? You thrashed around and you bolted up, half covered in blood from your wound. Okay.
He's still worried. You must have really thrashed and squealed in your sleep. You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
I think there's a console just southeast. Let's look around. Getting the blast door open seems like the best plan.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard. The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out, they terminate here. Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it. We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
The boat engine.
But officer, then we would have to swim back to the mainland. Let's just look around, okay?
The consul stands by, mutely. Nothing happens. The console, the dial, slides under the glass. Silently, you make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula, are written on the band. An idea lights up in your head.
This is an air-gapped system. Of air, I think they call it. That won't work. No, I'm not. But it would not be very good military technology if programmer ladies could control it remotely. Also, it's ancient, incompatible.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns, and an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri.
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window, quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation, a tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area. The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. Its sloped roof, a tiny fleck of light catches your eye on the rooftop. Sunlight reflecting off the upstairs window of Clausia's room.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window? I can see it, through the scope of a rifle. The shooter would be prone, lying on the mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
Cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
Nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress. Then again, his face twitches.
Where?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more. He feels uncomfortable suddenly.
We should move now.
A strange feeling, looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea. Leave it all and walk in with a bottle in your hand. Always. Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been. Maybe you know it's going to hurt. Yes, cold and still. But love is warm, like the inside of her mouth. Yes, 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 yes. No, we're not starting with that. Not now, not this time. This thought is over. In the still mirror of the bay, you see Martinez, reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go, step in. It's been too long. This old cylindrical the lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
A dim gold
It's on.
automatic boot. The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle. a dim ambient orange. The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in. A sudden wave of anxiety makes your skin crawl.
After you. So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here. I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
Don't be. I have a gun. I know. It was not easy to acquire.
Six crumbling peppers. An old man, wearing tracksuit trousers, leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours, unclouded by cataracts. His eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
My eyesight? Yes, helps me see all the shit.
A shudder of disgust passes his right side. His left side remains motionless.
The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. I did. And you opened it. How? I should have burned that console down. Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM. I did.
We have entered a world where he said you shouldn't. It is the only world.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness, a weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate, hip gyrating, mental illness music. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a 3-angong 446.
Southeast Samoran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samurai rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now, like chalk wiped from the board.
He's right. Almost no one remembers there was a third metastasis of the world revolution in the Saffray Empire, extinguished in '06.
They wouldn't like hearing their name in your mouth. Damn dog. Yes, I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
His right eye twitches. With what? Fear? Rage?
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more. If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
The danger levels here are hard to read. One moment he's a fire, the next, a fire gone out. The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
His elbows rest on the frame stock, calmly for now. But he may still get it in his hands. Looks like he knows the weapon. You don't see a magazine in the well. Yell at him now. Loud. The words, "I am an enemy commander," sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
And what rank would that be, dog? A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
Like an amputated limb in the sand, he stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold. Real music. Real Roulette Kult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
Marching song. Forget about that for a moment. You need to address that remark first.
The job of a shitlicker. There you go. 1 of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess.
In Sinyao, they sang Boy with a Scythe, Golden Sun.
I fucking know what they sang. I watched those little fuckers die in my arms. Little ones came to help us. Got cut to shreds. You don't fucking tell me what they sang.
His nostrils are still flaring with rage. He brings himself back under his own stewardship, slowly.
Everyone has. They named a fucking perfume after it. Talk to her? God, shithouse. Should have taken it down like they did in Grad. Dismantled it for firewood.
There was something there when he said, talked to her. He was curious. All around you, the air slowly circulates the islet, carrying little swallows and black-beaked seagulls in its slow drift. They all, every one of them, every bird, mammal, and crustacean, keep their distance.
I've seen kids lose their minds and start talking to the city, asking it to protect them when the shelling gets bad, calling it La Revacholière. Cities can't talk. It's bourgeois idealism. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. How did it go? Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him. It was dear to him. He resents forgetting it. So, if I can shoot rabbits, then I can shoot fascists too. Those are the next lines.
What are you talking about?
He doesn't recognize it. Embers going out. His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stopped and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. They say Triangong 4.46, Sin Yao Commune, for Safre and for all mankind. This is the Vulgate Seraïs. You can barely intuit the words. No is stretching it.
What does it say?
That's what the little guys told us. Every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, they go on and on about their Safri, their mankind, and Mazov. Those men were commandos. They weren't shit on a stick like us. They were small and...
On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does. The right type and the right calibre.
He's liking this.
I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response. Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my terminus surrender.
There, behind them, across the delta, the Insacom building. Coalition government, Insulindian mission control.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? Your holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. 43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He just couldn't. He nods, but he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41. 2 police officers step out of the whirling in rags cafeteria. Satellite officer Jean-Vic Maire inspects a series of burnt black letters splashed across the plaza mosaic. Patrol officer Judith Minot points west. The fishing village. She glances at her watch. We meet in 15 minutes. It's a 10-minute walk. The officers go, leaving behind the writing, still smoldering. One day, it says, I will return to your side.
Always waiting. For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution. Women are more susceptible to bourgeois morals. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession will lighten the load.
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams. I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold. It's the same thing. You haven't seen it. Not really. Not naked. It's impossible not to be afraid.
It remains unclear what it is. He makes leaps he doesn't expect you to follow.
And this was when?
He is still not convinced of his safety. You should not be either.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic, the combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame, still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too. Shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Some kind of great terror, worse than you've ever seen.
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human. I had to. I had to fight it. I had to never stop.
These eyes are charred black by the images that have entered them.
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. Iblis. The black-eyed angel.
Shaitan Ahura, the darkened one.
How does anyone survive? I steal.
Now hold on there.
You're insane and grotesque. Everyone steals. Vegetables, supplies. It's the life of a dog.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
You also have Druamine.
I have been running out of that stuff.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
It's the little joys. A dark joke, a sunshiny day, morphine. There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. And I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belmer Graves, right? I know.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across. Wait, how did he get down there?
I didn't have to. Came in through the storm drains.
Storm drains?
There used to be a system that connected the bunkers, tunnels and such, under the church and everywhere. Most of them are gone now, collapsed, just bricks. All the old infrastructure has... the propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. And a lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. The so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter. Let's. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, Le Parti Communiste dans le Monde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a knight philosopher of the revolution. A future human.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology, he was like a cleric, a shepherd.
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're part of the meat shield. The human shield that surrounds the fascists while they kill and rape. That's what you are.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. The expression on his face is unreadable. There's some sort of interference there. Neurological? There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism, or even cancer.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Here we go. A trail of blood. The lieutenant smells it too.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Going straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you, and in them a chill, like electricity running up your spine.
All is not as it seems.
Detective.
Damn it, ask it already, he wants to say.
What did I just say?
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the Commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Tear into him. Pile it on him. Everything you got on him. The more, the better. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part. Just one thing remains unclear. The rifle does not seem to have a scope.
Forget about your stupid fucking scope. I don't know where it is. Find it yourself. It's your problem now.
He lost it. He just doesn't know where it is. Forget it. Push on.
You're sad for your fascia brother, aren't you? One twig got broken. Now the others are sad.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those. Jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay, so what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? .46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it. Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
Like a marionette on some invisible string. This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
Stupid twat.
The lieutenant looks at you with worry in his eyes. Not this, he seems to say. Anything but this.
Matter does not behave in such a way. Those are aberrant bourgeois musings. Magic earl creatures. Esoteric theosophy. Your brain is rotting from the radio waves.
He does not answer the provocation. It does not look like he thinks this approach worked. Yeah, this just did nothing. But still, somehow you knew it was a communist. Perhaps you suspected it before you took the case. The vision was you remembering that. Was it supposed to? The inland sea is dark, vast, and on the surface, meaningless.
Standing there, slack-jawed, brain festering.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly. nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May before they ruined it.
South, the Bay of Martinez is dotted with little freckles of islets, turning green, with white flowers in white snow.
The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Classier.
He repeats the name with care, as if it were at risk of breaking. He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
My ears don't reach the city. With the victim.
There is a small tremble, looks like a smile, a crooked smile, yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is called Sensory. You see their V-shaped logo, but can't make out the size. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned souls you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
There, a hot flash of rage almost carries the smile away. Some dark peace.
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white. Or what's left of it, anyway. my last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own, and so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at Dan, the victim and a young woman, having sex through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
Helps him see all the shit.
And if you don't like it,
Click.
then you pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift. Start with when he first saw him. It will give him a chance to ramble.
3 weeks ago, when the rich hag came in on her galley. Her honor guard came in tow.
Joyce. He means Joyce.
Wrinkled up whore. Lack sexual morals are a bourgeois ploy. As to pederasty, the party legalized it in '04. My party, not your liberal masters. So don't you sermonize me, you racist shithole. It's still bourgeois when the bourgeois does it, fiddling with their sexual organs.
Some strange glandular process takes place in him at the thought, like yeast rising. And anger too, in addition to loneliness.
They moved into a deserted apartment above the roundabout. Radio equipment out for all to see. Reactionary radio playing, sloppy and drunk. I've seen their kind during the landing. Those Occidental and Mesk phalangs weren't conscripts. Boys like us. They were whites. All they know is to destroy and hurt. Barely alive. They like to kill while they're on their drugs. After the landing, in the burning years, I would take shots at them. End them. The worst one, if I had a bullet to spare. I could see they've returned now to show their real face. The face they don't dare show their bourgeois voters back on Mundi with their families and polyester clothes. Them fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore.
For him to stop reacting to stimuli, to be broken off from the world, cordoned into darkness.
And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second. Writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
Her body sweating from the drugs, slick from cerebral hemorrhage. This man has seen past her, like you did. And now he longs to see her covered in blood, to punish her.
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
You stare at them too. In your mind, her innocence day still turns to leaf, airport bag in hand. silks flowing in her wake. It's no good, Harry. Her voice rings in the evening air. It smells of burning buildings.
The world is insane. Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
That, too.
How could you see what she looked like? You said it was dark.
The sun came up. Her hair was like cobwebs. She smoked more fags and snorted a line of whatever shit she was on, right there. She needed it just to move. Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Semonine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
After she was gone,
Did you keep what was in it? When we found the submersible, it was empty.
no. Why would I do that? I didn't need tickets to Villiers. I'd put them back. If I wanted to extort someone, I'd do better.
This implies that he's thought about extorting her. Also, a little inconsistency here. He was surprised to hear her name Clausia before. Would he not have seen it on the documents?
Why would I need that trash? I'm not going to Villiers.
There it is again. The strange neurological state he's sometimes in.
It didn't say Clausia in there. It was something. I don't remember. It was dark that morning. I only remember her face on the photo. I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. And a body, hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook? From the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo. And glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur. There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know. Yes, over the years. It's not unproletarian to feel something. No, I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of our room on the floor, like she does sometimes, the day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
It's as if something put the thought there, to leave the flowers.
What do you mean, put?
A brief flash of terror.
Maybe. I told you, I have holes in my brain now. I wouldn't just sit here waiting for you.
A sudden pang of rage.
If you came 10 years ago, I would have killed you.
In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes. One more down. it quickly comes to you.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip point knife. Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny. Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
One more thing. The flowers, Mr. Dross. The dried flowers that were on the roof.
What about them?
There. He's already admitted to it. Just ask.
I did. I shouldn't have. I was there one night, and she was the day after. Yeah.
It's as if something put the thought there, to leave the flowers.
What do you...
A brief flash of terror.
Maybe...
A sudden...
If you came...
In the... One more down.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
Safe and sound, sire. Surely you have not misplaced the witness.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week, at the island, like she knew. She'd look, at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
Midtown, across the Bay of Revachol, the oceanic wind washes 40-story towers. Above them, Lausanne's Central Aerodrome, a cocoon suspended in the sky by a web of suspension wiring, encircled by hybrid aircraft. On the platform, a young woman is withdrawing from amphetamines, barbiturates, and alcohol. Yet still she smiles among the crowd, among the great ghost of the city she's leaving, for another, far south, smaller, distant, hidden, not like the great chandelier she sees sparkle in the night below her. Streetlights, towers, tenements, and water, and across it a dark strip of ruins, barely visible if she didn't squint her eyes. There, on a dilapidated jetty in a nameless village, 2 police officers and 1 special consultant look across a narrow strip of sea. The ruins of a seafort stick out of the water, built by Philippe II, reappropriated by the Commune, then lost in the landing. He's there, doing what exactly I don't know. Satellite Officer Vicmair points at the ruins. Behind that anti-aircraft something. That's why we can't see him. Special Consultant Heidelstam is optimistic. We'll see the boat when he comes. Let's go get a coffee until then. I know this interesting little place where, as the men go, Patrol Officer Minnow looks back over her shoulder at the crumbling fortification like a rotten tooth rising out of the water. Good luck, Harry, she thinks. You need something good for this.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking. Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put, put, put of hatred. Detest pushes the cobwebs out of his eyes. Pushes the melancholy aside. He relishes it.
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cop parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Quayamoran, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. What was that about? Steroids? It piqued your interest. There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating. And the Sucrian on her yacht? Joyce? Probably. Ask about that cock on parade too. Make sure you get everything here.
Whores. Yes, steroids. A racist on steroids. What is my opinion? You think the rich man has an opinion on this idiocy? Is the rich man on the radio telling you his opinion? No. The rich man's looking at real estate and fiddling his kids, wading through the corpses.
Ha, yes, but he was there. Why was he there if you can't have an opinion?
Scratching away at the race question. You moral intern monkeys keep the conversation going on Channel 4, helping the rich man conduct his swindle with this inanity. You think the rich man cares about your little race games? He rules the whole world, and he laughs at your moral soliloquies.
Now wait a moment. Let's get serious here.
Steroids and radio shows. Probably that Revachol 98 AM. That's irradiating the look. It's the worst. Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination. The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them. What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why? No. Cynical design cockroaches like you erected a new, ironic version of it. We tore it down with honest, working-class plastic explosives. But there it is again, grinning. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
Wait, the bullet hole in Philippe's heart. The statue had been shot. That was him. It had to be. He's already proven capable of taking a far more complicated shot from here.
I did. A needless, sentimental gesture. I should have spared the bullet for a deformed monster of liberal capitalism. Shameful, really.
Yes, shameful. So many others to punish over the years. Isn't that right, detective?
The fat union man let them put it there. Corrupt as he is. Probably got a fat check for it, too. Shared with the law.
Accusations of corruption. Push them aside with a sharp change of topic, officer. Put the heat on him. He keeps having opinions about the union's leadership.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Edgar.
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed.
You can't live alone.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to. Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
I haven't approached anyone. I've hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things. 20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
Edgar did the talking. paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform, offered platitudes about the struggle, flaunted his pink degree, even quoted Marzow. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzow. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwight. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something. There is more here. You can feel it. He was not outright lying, but almost. The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark.
Hey.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation and money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
Bordering on sentimentality, it drips out of him, tempered by something familiar to you. A familiar rage.
She was, and she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muscova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work. Called in, they say, on the eve of battle, ran away, vanished like a piss stain.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not. She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river. The truth.
Because she was dead.
Just say nothing.
The cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled? Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. And a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her, and the ruins.
Be abstract here. A bit of drama.
It was someone shot her. Or maybe she just fell. I get these violent ideations. My memory is filled with holes, especially the 30s. All I know is...
Another big spike of rage. Different from the one he has for her.
Nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal. If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
Come on, just a little. Your buddies threaten with pain. All human beings respect pain. It's the truth.
I haven't lived and fought for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 a.m., Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
The same old freezing hatred. There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
Your beloved Joyce Messier, a Sucrion, a bloodsucker. Women like her feed on the life energy of young working-class men, and they let her. I can't believe the inert lumpen out there. They just let her drive her little boat like that. No violence, not even a robbery. The working class has lost their appetite for justice.
If only he had the ammunition.
Every fucking morning for 34 years, throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one, that one. Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
He whispers with such predatory hunger, it borders on longing.
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
A treat, better served for later. He's a pleasure delayer.
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think. No, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, René. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
No. I waited too long. I waited too long, and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust. All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. And now, God damn this world. Fuck you. You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together. making him endure an idea told to him by grown-ups from radio towers and leaflets in beautiful print when he was still a teenager. Everything is possible if we fight. And then he lost it. So did they all.
Glad we talked about what?
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild, indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system, and also flashes of lust simmering in there. Not too common in people his age. You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even. Not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on. There is definitely something hormonal there. Whatever the condition he's suffering, there is a sexual element to it.
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
You said you take painkillers.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses. Not enough money for a greedy doctor.
Are you sure about him being lucid? Maybe he's just affected by an extreme case of socialism. It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Like some kind of decadent rock star. No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled. His lip curls.
Glad we talked about what? What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror is the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear. The lieutenant continues, like an incantation.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He is a brave man. Why is he unraveling? He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat. Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Something is happening. Stop. Lillian. You could ask her, maybe.
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
No, listen. Listen now. There it is again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat. What?
What are you talking about? Is this really us?
Your skin crawls. A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence. It's still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster to grab the gun.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
I can see it.
4 simple words, thank God. If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.